wisdom of the universe, trying to find out what is that star doing there. In August, when I saw that star there, back in October, when did that constellation get there? In December, when I saw that constellation there in July. And why are we now trying to figure out when that constellation is there, we should plant crops. When that constellation is there, we should make sure we tend to birds. When that constellation is there, that star is there, we should harvest. We should know when to go fishing because the cosmos is going to tell us when is the best time to fish. We should master the cosmology so we can master the ecology. But we'll open up, Master telling us about the healthiness of the body. The highest order of spirituality is to maintain your healthiness. Health is the highest form of spirituality. Because the spirit, the energy that controls this universe is not going to live in a temple that's decaying, that's dying. It wants to leave that temple and find a temple where there's life. So health must be at the forefront of the building of the lighted temples. And so, I don't know what the brothers wanted me to talk about. Just have to post some stuff up there, so that the masters is going to be enough stuff to say. But most of us are Muslims. If you're like me, you're crazy. I'm educated. Right. But I found out that everything is everything. Remember, some of us old enough to remember how we passed to those people and everything is everything? You have to understand what this brother is saying. Everything is everything. When I was a Muslim, we had something called the 99 Pearls of Faith. The 99 names of Allah. And very few people taught us anything about it. They just told us about it. Then I became a Yoruba. And then Baba, he came in with a little green hat on. That's one of my master teachers sitting behind you, Brother Sabri. And he told me about these Orishas. So we got, none of them. But very few people tell us what the Orishas are about. I put in a lot of time in Haiti, studying voodoo, studying the Loas. But very few people know what the Loas are. I've been to West Africa, Ghana, and I studied the Ogogo. Where I'm going to go field the second from the Ogogo school. And then suddenly I realized when I got ready, when I finished my initiations, I was in a place at my master's shrine in Trinidad, in a place called Kennesa's in a town called Chihuahuas. And my shrine came in from Caracou and the Grenadines, and it got the Caracou and the Grenadines when it left Haiti upon the deck of Dessalines, and many of the voodoo priests had to escape. But what they were bringing was the same sacred science that you carry when you're the martial arts. The same body of knowledge about healing, the same body of knowledge about herbalism, the same body of knowledge about manipulating the joints and the muscles in the body to stay healthy and strong. That body of knowledge, that's what made you masters. Back in the day, we called people priests now, but back in the day you were scientists. You were the master scientists that understood the universe, that understood ecology, that understood human anatomy, that understood human gender, that understood what relationship and life formation was about. Then somebody confused you and told you were different. And I remember when I was confused, when my brother Omatushu came to Nigeria to give me my last level, I had my shrine all written out. And it's going to be the Yoruba, something, and USI. Took my little paper and he tore my stuff up. I'm sitting there almost crying. And he had like 40 years old. I'm like, why? What was there out of my down? Told my Yoruba shrine was going to be. And he said, there's only one shrine. And it's called the United African Shrine. In that United African Shrine, everything we've done here today fits. Everything we do when we go to the voodoo shrine fits. When you see voodoo, And you see that little drawing they put on the ground to represent the power of the bebe. And you ask the average person, what's that? It's a pretty art thing. But no one knows that the bebe, or very few know that the bebe is the ancestors' interpretation of the cosmic energy that represents a certain power that you have. And when you understand the feeling of the cosmic energy, you can interpret it in calligraphy. And then you can practice it in movement. Right? So when we understand that we're not just people fighting, that we are that aspect of God itself having the human experience. Each one of us represents an aspect of the divine essence. That cannot be disproven. To be foolish for anybody to try to disprove that. Even though people are so comfortable with having this external artificial God concept, that narrative is fake. It's always been fake. In order for there to be a divine, a supreme, it means nothing else can exist but it. Then what are we? We are only aspect of that existence. And being such, we contain the totality of the possibilities of that existence. That's why for those who are Muslim, what we say, we are one. One. Nothing else exists but the one. And for those who are in the kinetic arts, yesterday we were dealing with chemistry very heavily. There's a man called Akhenaten. And it just means the light force of Aton, and Aton means the divine. And he had a prayer, just like the one we had in this land. Oh soul God, you who have given birth to none, and none has given birth to you. Oh Aton, I am your servant, because I am you. When we do what we do, and I know GRANDMASTERBREE, I'm so proud of him. I've been watching him lately. He learned all the technology of social media now, and you can't stop him. Like, it's so good to see the young brothers carry the art forward. They understand the spiritual aspect of the art. Because the fighting came into existence to protect the spiritual. The teachers of the Islam had to go out into the wilderness to heal people, to teach people agriculture, to teach people husbandry, to teach people how to fish, to teach people what to eat, to teach people when you should have protein, when you should have this or that to make your life what it's supposed to be. And there were those who were less conscious who would hurt them, to take the wealth from them, the little they had to eat and carry on. So they had to develop a way to protect themselves. So I'm sure one day somebody went up to their brother, the tiger, and said, oh, my brother, tiger, I've got to go through this valley, and the vandals constantly jumping. And the tiger said, oh, watch me work. And he watched the tiger work. And he developed a system of defending himself the way the tiger defended himself. There's no time in my environment. When I got the praying mantis in my environment, let me go say, oh, my brother, my sister, the praying mantis, how can you protect yourself against all these things trying to destroy you? And she just wants me to learn. That's the way I am. Learn me, because I am all things in one. They're all aspects of the same divine body of energy. And that energy we develop in our system through this art form that you're demonstrating today, through this martial form that you're demonstrating, you're showing us how you master the use of the energy. Yes. But sometimes we get caught up in a Western system where everything is external, where we expel energy. But we don't really show how we capture and store energy, so that the energy can heal you. Right now we live in a country where pharmaceuticals is nothing but murder calls. Medicine and hospitals are in business to murder people. And then They just been bleeding every day, laying all kinds of pain. One day I told them, I'm done. And I'm laying up in the hospital. And all these tubes in me. And so I told the doctor, I said, take the tubes out. I'm gonna roll with what I'm rolling. And I knew the guy who was next to me left earlier that day. But I hear these people talking. So they knew somebody else. But I couldn't get up and move the curtain. So the nurse came and I asked him, the new curtain. He said, there's no there. No. All night long, these people was over there having this conversation, telling me to take these tubes out. And I realized that was my mom, my father, my granny, my aunts, and the other elders. So the ancestors came and said, we are pure energy. And we've come to give you your instructions. And so the doctor refused to take the tubes, showed up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so we removed the tubes.
Young man, let the elder speak.
Taking it out. And I said, okay, then I want to go home. And he says, before you go home, I met this doctor yesterday, and he's got a new technique. And he thinks he might be able to help him. I said, well, what's the new technique? He said, it's called embolism catheterization. I said, well, that's fancy. I'm just lazy, but I don't understand that. He said, we understand that the law of nature, this is the guy talking to me. With the big doctor guy, but now he's gone someplace else in his head. After those old people came, and oh, okay. You sure? Yeah, very sure. That's what we get on. So he told me about this capitalization thing. And they explained it to me. He says, no, we're gonna go inside of you through your wrists, some wires and stuff. And we're gonna go down to your prostate. And we're going to cut off the blood flow so that we can cut off the oxygen and then force the prostate to shrink itself. That's what hell wanted somebody to do that 30 years ago.
Yeah.
50 years ago. And they did it 5 years ago. I haven't bled one day since. I have been able to urinate. You don't even know. I'm so good. I'm ready for everything. Don't trust yourself anymore. The point I'm making is that we have to understand as we're teaching the sciences to our children, to our babies, none of the schools of thought is superior to the other. There's methodologies of approaches.
Us.
There's only one sun. It shines on China, and it shines on South Carolina. There's only one moon. It's seen in Ghana, and it's seen in Texas. Okay? And the relationship to that sun and the moon to the entire ecology that we live in is the same. Now, how do we master what that is so we can use it to our advantage? When we take on the role of masters and grandmasters, I'm not perhaps a grandmaster, it's the role we were teaching. But when we take on that role of grandmaster, all of you become the sun.
Us.
The sun gives light to another object, your student, who's the moon. Your student should perform as your student the same way the moon performs in relationship to the sun. And when you understand that, we know what we're doing. If I told you nobody dies, within the small, we know people die because we go to funerals, we bury them and stuff. How can anybody die when nothing that lives has ever not lived? Nothing in here, not a single one of you, has not always been me. You simply have constructed different temples to house your presence. And even the temple is made up of the same elements that decayed from the old temple that you lived in before you lived in this temple. Is that theologically clear?
Doc.
Wow. Technology. Now, Bubba, how much time I got so I can clock my brain? How much time?
You have as much time as you want.
You shouldn't tell them.
I've met.
But what I want to say is that you are the healers of the community. Stop being afraid to be the healers in the community.
Us.
Us.
You are the healers of the community. We've allowed people to marginalize us. Let's do what we've been doing, but I saw coming forth in the last year where you're now taking the forefront of the leadership of this community back. Because we do have 50-something million people in North America who are African. We have about half of that in the Caribbean and Latin America. We have 3 to 5 times of that in the Latin American, Central, South America.
That's right.
And then when we get through counting the continent, we're talking close to 2 billion people that need your leadership. 2 billion people have been derailed from understanding their purpose on earth. Because a virus in our ecology has occurred for centuries. Now we know there's only one race, we know there's only one genesis, we know there's only one human being, but it has all of these variations, all of these mutations. And the virus is not physical. The virus is an energy misconstruct. An energy misconstruct that instructs our brain on how to behave, not in our best interests. So how do we get back to that place? Any one of you sisters, you know what you went through. You see, like Brother Mo, he puts a heart on his brothers. I went in the dojo with y'all, what, 3 years ago? I was like, I gotta go to Temple Meeting. I'm taking it. But as we are teaching, we've got to make sure we're telling them who they are, who are they to be when this teaching art has exchanged the information to them. And when our people see us, we have to, those of us who got really, I can zikr as good as anybody. You know what I'm saying? And then I got on the funk. But these are just symbols of what our hearts should be. These are symbols of what our minds should be. These are tools to help us remember how to be. And so we have to begin to really, really not be afraid. That's the piece I want to get in. How long were you out here teaching about her? How long were you teaching? 55 years. You know how many angels you've created, saviors you've created, doctors you've created in 55 years? Many who've even forgotten who gave them the energy. Many of you have forgotten. But you've been saviors in the world and not knowing you've been the saviors in the world. You don't understand. This is Black History Month. The 100th year since Mr. Carter G. Woodson made the statement, we need a week as ours. Carter G. Woodson was a good friend with Ida B. Wells, who was running around trying to stop the lynching. Carter G. Woodson was a friend with Terrell Schumberg, who created the Blackest Library in America. Carter G. Woodson was a friend to T. Thomas Fortune, who in 1892 founded the Afro-American League. Carter G. Woodson was more than just one man. He was all of those men and women who would pick up the scepter to save our people. And we need to understand that deeply. Anybody in here from Puerto Rico? Background in the Caribbean? Good. So do you remember El Graco de Lores? You're kind of young. I'm a New York. So this is the place. Before that flag you had half the day, there was another flag with a second star. And there's a flag with Graco de Lores because that was a revolutionary response to the American terrorism that our people took, and then they defeated America. And manganese and mud flows in the street. And these were people fighting Africans, Puerto Rico. Never said we Puerto Ricans, we speak Spanish, and that means we're not African. No. We gave the Spanish the language. Most people don't know that Spanish is about 45 to 50% Arabic and Moorish North African. It's not Latin, as they told you. History will erase that mystery. 800 years we were in that place, and no one knew any other. So we have to understand that knowing history erases the mystery and allow us to unite the sciences. The science of how to live, the science of how to be healthy. Somebody asked me the other day, oh, why do you think you were born? I was born to be God. I am trying to become everything any of us should be doing is to become the thing that we call God. Now, if you're satisfied with being a slave, it's I'm the servant of God. No, that's somebody else's interpretation. Your purpose is here is to perfect the divine. Each of us is an aspect of the divine. If we're sick, then the divine is sick. Right? So we must perfect ourselves in order to perfect our divinity, because all we know about God comes from our minds. You don't know nothing else. You didn't get that information from no place else except the mind of another human being trying to interpret the reality of everything being everything. That there's only one existence and we're all this aspect of it. And in that aspect, we are the totality of that existence. So watch the movements, that 360 degree that one covers when they protect themselves. I watch the movement, that 360 degree when one has to go in the attack and defend itself. So what are we talking about? Is that not understanding the laws of nature? Is that not understanding the laws of cosmology? And then when it comes to the heart, me and my wife was having, we've been together 56 years. Somebody knows most of us. Amen. And we were on this one about, do we really know what love is? And you know, after 56 years, we could settle that, right? No. We still trying to figure out. And what I realized is that the thing that we call love is the same thing that we call God. That thing that we call love is the same thing that we call God. But if we get an understanding of the thing that we call God, we'll understand the thing that we call love. And to get an understanding of the thing that we call God is to understand yourself. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, know thyself. Learn to love thyself. I can't love Allah. Doesn't I love me? Then I look up and go, oh wow, what is me? And if I love me, I love sister. Sister is me. Otherwise, I'm lost. And so we have to understand what was taught at the Showman March. How to pick up a hot pot, like they showed some TV, brother, and that dragon in his flesh. How to come out and beat up everybody else in the world. They didn't study with you for 40 years. What was taught there? What was taught there is that you are the divine having a human experience, not perfect that reality. And that's the whole sciences and the arts and the martial that we will never study today is teaching us how do I perfect me so that I'm perfected to be the divine. This thing we're up against in America, we're not going to defeat it with guns. In the 60s, we buried so many of our brothers and sisters because we picked up the child immaturely, prematurely. He was still in the prison today. 45 years, 50 years. We made a mistake. We thought that if we got better than the destruction being destructive, we would defeat the destruction, and the only thing we did was help the destructive defeat us. We should have said, we are going to become our best self. That we are the ones that the ones that can heal. Those old people in that room that came to me that night that made that Italian doctor who thought I was an idiot come with a message from the divine and heal me after 35 years of suffering, that was a force of nature. That was an energy that said that boy, he can't help himself, but he's at least done enough for us that we're going to take care of him. And they did. That maybe walk around good, eat good. I'd go 5 or 6 hours without going to the bathroom. I couldn't go 30 minutes a few years ago without going to the bathroom. That makes the young people, y'all may not understand. But us older folks, we understand that. Okay. And so today is one of those beautiful days. Like last night, we were with the masters and we were talking about Kemet, and we were looking at how we could see on the caves of Africa, we could see on the tombs of the walls, the demonstration of our different fighting forms thousands of years before it appears anywhere in the world. We saw a migration into India. We saw us becoming a Buddha. We saw us establishing Sholan. We saw us bringing that science to the world. And stop being afraid and ashamed to say, we're not trying to take anything from anybody. We just talking history. We want to erase the history. There's a time, my wife's family, most of them are from India. And then half from another part of that is from Africa, another part of that from Asia, Japan. There was a time you could walk in Japan and everybody looked like that. You walk in China, everybody looked like that. You walk in Russia, everybody looked like that. If we know the history, we can heal those who's confused in the mystery. But we can't heal the world if we can't heal ourselves, and we can't heal ourselves until we accept who our true selves are, without being afraid. Now, without the law, the reason we're given these laws and rules and none of them is today, that we call religion, it is to keep us from, when we learn who we are or who we are potentially to be, those laws and rules are given to us to get rid of the arrogance, to get rid of the ego, to get rid of the selfishness, to get rid of the hatred, to get rid of the misunderstanding, so that you can carry that healthy thing forward called you. Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Sir.
So being a martial artist, being a master, being trained for years, you studied for years, you taught for years, you were interested for years. Love that. Don't get old and think you haven't accomplished anything. You saved the world. The world will continue you saved it. Because there's an aspect of the world, everything is, the laws of nature said everything is duality, opposites, right? There's an opposite that says, I don't want to be in harmony. And there's another opposite saying, we must be in harmony. So we got confused. We let the one that's saying, I don't want to be in harmony, right? And somebody was talking about this yesterday, God was talking about this yesterday, where he was talking about that lower self, that's where all the pleasures are. That's the one that says, I don't want to be in harmony. And it feels so good, you want to reside there. But there's that one that gives you to punch upside the head and gives you to smack on the jaw and put you down so you can see reality that says we must have harmony. And the way you have harmony is to get those two selves to be on either side of you in a balanced posture. You're not one or the other. You're that thing in the middle of both. You're the divine being having a human experience. You are in this fighting form, this healing form, this martial form. You are the great teachers that have always been here. You just have new bodies. No one can kill you. You cannot die. And what the enemy has done is inflicted this great fear of dying. So when I was at Tom's funeral, I passed out of the church.
Yes, sir.
While he was going to the cemetery, the other dude was taking me to the hospital. I thought about that, and the cop kicked me in my little butt and said, you out of shape. That's when I went back and started studying again, because I realized I had given up on the me too. I had given up on the me. So know thyself. Do not be afraid. And do not separate this esoteric conversation I have with you today from your needs to provide the food, clothing, shelter, safety, and security for your family, which is a necessity every day. If you're not prepared to do that, you're not even prepared to talk about consciousness. Let this wisdom and the knowledge that you have teach you how to control the economics, politics, and culture where you live. By giving control of land, labor, resources where you live, and managing it. But the tools you're getting from the art is the same tool you use to manage your political understanding. It is the same values that allow you to manage your cultural interpretation. They're not separate things. It's just one. Somebody else has made a scene in them backwards. No, it's one. You're the master teacher because you're the instructor of those who must maintain civilization.
Yes.
And you can't have civilization if you can't feed the people in civilized communities. And you can't feed the people if you don't control the economic and politics that comes up with delivering the people. Remember, economics is the wealth in your ecology. In urban America, the wealth is tax revenue, real estate, retail, and hotel business. If you can't manage that, you're not managing the wealth in your economy. If you don't have an economy. Politics is your management system. Politics manage your economics. Remember, Doc was teaching us this way back in the day. And culture is your spiritual imperative. It gives the guidance to the politics, so it has the ethical, moral, principle foundation to make sure that the wealth that you discover is properly distributed. And so master teachers teach these qualities to people. So when they become politicians, when they become economists, when they become doctors and lawyers, the principle that you teach them will allow them to be that thing in the appropriate way. So understand how powerful you are is the point I'm trying to make. Because we all go through the cycles. Nature goes through cycles. And remember who we are, we're all space beings. So that would have gone in outer space. Well, somebody had to give you the 411. Planet Earth is in outer space. Not only is it in outer space, it's spinning on its axis, it's rotating around the sun, and it's following the sun at a couple of million miles an hour, chasing the Milky Way through the cosmos. And you don't even feel the vibration and recognize it, because all of that vibration you are feeling. So when we get down, like I said, when we get right down to Earth, everything is going to be everything. We understand the oneness of nature. We understand cosmology, we understand that every element in the universe is in your body. Every light, rhythm, and power in the universe is just within your body. Your light and your matter.
Everything is everything.
Everything is everything. Thank you very much, Sensei.